Okay, we're going to make some dandelion jelly. I didn't videotape myself out there picking. Nobody needs to see me on my hands and knees picking dandelions. So I spent about an hour and a half out there collecting 6 cups of dandelions. Now, when I say 6 cups, I mean the petals. You want as very little green. You can see some in there. You don't want much of that at all. The yellow will make it sweet. The green will make it bitter. So get as much green out of it as you can. So once I got my petals, I added 8 cups of boiling water. And that's where we are right now. We're going to let this is basically dandelion tea. We're going to let that steep overnight. It's now 1:30 in the afternoon on Friday. Tomorrow afternoon, we're going to come back and we'll make some dandelion jelly with you.
Dandelion tea has been steeping for 24 hours, and this is what it looks like. We're going to do our first strain through our muslin cloth to get out the solids. Here we go. Here we are. So I've got that in there. That's our first pass, and I'm going to gently press to get the extra liquid out of the dandelion mash. Rick's done a great job separating the flowers from the green. So this is basically what it looks like. So just gently pressed. We don't want to press too hard or mash it too hard. We don't want a lot of solids in our jelly. We want a nice clear jelly. So that's the first pass. I'm going to take this in our muslin. I'm going to give it a bit of a squeeze. We're still getting, even though I pressed it, we're still getting quite a lot of juice out of there. And we want to get all that nice juice. Okay, that's first pass. All right.
Okay, we're going to filter it one more time with a coffee filter. That'll get any sediment out, and that'll leave us with a nice, clear liquid for our jelly. This will just take a minute. My guess is there won't be a lot of sediment. It looks pretty clear, but we're going to make sure.
Okay, for the next part of our jelly adventure, dandelion jelly adventure, we're going to do the cooking process. We're all set. So 3 cups of the tea. We discussed doubling the batch because we have so much tea, but not a good idea to double batches. You should always make them in single batches. So here we go. So 3 cups of the tea. And we've got some really nice looking dandelion tea here. There's 1 cup. Two. And 3. I'm going to turn my burner on. We need 2 tablespoons of lemon juice. We always use the bottled lemon juice because it's got guaranteed acidity. You don't have guaranteed acidity in actual squeezed lemons, so we always use this. 2 tablespoons. 2 tablespoons.
You don't count this part that's spilled over the edge?
No, I don't.
Okay.
All right, and we're going to bring this to the boil in the large pot. Make sure you have a large pot because when you bring it to boil, sometimes it will foam over and you don't want to be caught with the foam over. So now we're waiting for the boiling process.
And that'll take a few minutes. So we'll just let that boil and we'll be right back. And somebody forgot to put the pectin in.
I forgot the pectin.
It's got to go in before the sugar does.
So we're going to put this in before the boil process. There's our pectin. And I'll stir it in with a wooden spoon. So we're just going to stir the pectin in, make sure that there's no visible lumps. You should use a wooden spoon, shouldn't use a metal spoon in most of these things. And there we go. We'll just wait for the boil and we'll be right back. Okay, so the pectin has been added to this and we had to bring it to a boil. It kind of got away on me. It's a rolling boil. Now we have 4.5 cups of sugar that we're going to put in. That's a lot of sugar. Now I've tasted the jelly and it really, I kind of thought it might be really intense and bitter, but it's really not. We've been told and we've read that when this product is finished, it will taste like honey and look like honey, but it's a lot of sugar, 4.5 cups. We're going to make a second batch because we have enough tea, so we will mess around with the sugar ratio maybe and see. We might reduce it by a cup and see how we go.
The things that you can mess around with is the amount of sugar, things like that. What you can't mess around with is the length of time that it's going to be in the canner.
So we need to bring this back to a rolling boil. The rolling boil is important for your jelly to set. So we're going to bring it back to a rolling boil and then I'm going to set the timer for 2 minutes. So we're just waiting for our rolling boil. It's best to stir it frequently. You don't want it to scorch. You don't want to ruin your jelly. But it looks like predicted. It's going to be a nice clear color. We've had beautiful dandelions this year. We planned on making this last year, but the dandelions were so late and so sparse that we decided the bees needed the dandelions more than we did. This year seems to be a bumper crop of dandelions. Okay, there we are, a rolling boil. So I'm going to put my timer on for 2 minutes. And I'm maybe going to adjust the heat just a little bit because if you don't stir frequently,
it's going to overflow.
It could overflow and that's not good.
Pull it off the stove.
No, I'm good. It's caught up. We're good. Just have to keep stirring for your 2 minutes. Don't leave it because a boil over is messy, messy, messy. And you won't make any friends in your house if they're having to clean up your mess.
Trust me, it's happened.
For those of you with air exchangers or heat pumps, something else that we've learned from experience is when you're canning indoors, a lot of steam and heat is created. We're in May right now, so the air is very fresh. Today's a really cool day. But if you can in your house, you may want to shut off your Venmar and open some windows, and you may wish to shut off your heat pump as well, because if the heat pump gets overcome with moisture, it will leak and water will come down your walls. Don't ask us how we know, but Rick knows.
Wow. She wasn't home. It was an accident.
Anyway. So
you've got this going, plus you've got the canner going. Yes. So there's a lot of steam in the house.
Make sure when you go to can in a water bath that you have your water bath water boiling. It does take a while for a big pot like that to boil. And it's always nice to have it ready. Have your jars pre-sterilized. We're fortunate we got a brand new dishwasher this year that the sanitize feature works on. My old one did not work. The element was burnt out. The dishwasher was at the end of life. So we're very happy this year to have a new dishwasher. There's our 2 minutes. So we take this off the heat and give it a little stir and make sure everything's good.
Your funnel is over on the right.
And I'm going to get my funnel. This requires 1/2 inch of headspace, I believe it is.
Yep.
Yes?
Quarter inch
headspace. I forget where it is in the jar. It's been a while since I've canned. So I can't remember where that is on the jars.
Look, it's the bottom one.
It's what, the very bottom?
Yep.
That one?
So,
so we fill these up quite far then.
So if you put this on your jar, that tells you where a 1/4 inch is. I think we should do a 1/2 inch.
Okay.
I do.
Because that seemed like quite a lot. So I'm just going to put this over and I'm going to start. So we just get a nice ladle. I maybe should have put some butter in here. The recipe didn't call for it, but if you put a little bit of butter in your jam or jelly when you're processing, it'll get rid of that foam for you.
There's nothing wrong with the foam.
No, there's nothing wrong.
Anything.
It's not going to hurt. It's just aesthetics. But a little bit of butter. So maybe we've got enough to do a second batch. So what we're going to do is maybe experiment with that, a little less sugar, and perhaps
a tablespoon of butter.
A tablespoon of butter, just to try it out. Looks like we're going to have the best part of 6 jars, which is expected.
If we end up with 1/2 a jar, it
goes missing.
It goes missing quickly here.
Because it's always nice.
But it looks like you've got a full.
I've got 6 nice full jars. That's great. So I'm just going to round up some of these other jars. And then we're going to cap them.
So what we're going to do first is take a paper towel with hot water.
Wash this.
And we're going to wipe the rims.
Paper towel. Do we want water or vinegar?
Either or. Hot water's good.
I'm just going to use the water then. Since we didn't prepare.
You don't want anything on the top of the jar.
No, because
that's how you lose your seal.
Even just, whoops, turn off that burner. Even just a little bit of something on the rim will cause your seal not to take. So this is just easy to do to ensure your success. I got them all.
Okay.
Now, next, we've got our lids in some hot water. And we've got our little magnet here, so we're just going to put on here and get them ready to go into the water bath. Now, some people back in the day, Grandma, would just put them into hot jars, put her jams and jellies into hot jars, and let them self-seal. Put the hot product into the hot jar, and it would self-seal. And Bob's your uncle, and that was good. She was happy.
It wasn't.
However, modern science has told us that that's not the way to do it. You still need to water bath. Where's my rings? Okay, so here we've got our rings. Whoops, not off to a very good start here. Crap.
2 hands.
And I wasn't using 2 hands because those jars are bloody hot. But these only need to be finger tight. If you tighten these too much, what's going to happen is your snap ring is going to buckle.
Now, you can use your jars and your rings until they wear out, until the jars break and the rings rust. But you can't use the snap lids a second time.
No.
Those are one time only. When you're done, you either use the lids, the snap lids, for dry goods, like if you're going to put flour in jars. Other than that, they go in the garbage.
But you know what? I mostly put them in the garbage. And for a little investment, I don't know, $5 or $6, you get a few of them, half a dozen maybe. I get these nice ball covers that fit nicely over the jars for keeping things in the fridge or for my dry storage. I really like them. You can also keep mayonnaise and peanut butter jar covers, and they'll fit your mason jars, so that's a cheaper alternative again if you go through any of those.
But you never use those snap lids. It's not worth it.
No, never. So now what we're going to do is we're going to stick these in there. I'm just going to make sure that those are finger tight. And they're very hot, so they're not too tight. Just on there. Ouch. There we go. And I've got my jar lifter. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? Nice and pale. I kind of expected it would be more yellow, but it's not. I did taste some out of the pot, Another thing, put these in the water bath, offset them when you put them in, just for balance. There we go, beautiful. It's really nice.
So because the lid is off the pot, we've lost our boil. So our timer doesn't start until it comes back to a boil.
So another thing we're gonna do, these are worth their weight in gold, these silicone gloves. They're expensive. This is $10 at Walmart. This is $15 at Walmart. This is Starfrit. We kind of thought it would be nice to have one with fingers in it and one with a mitt, depending on what you want to do. It's great when you're canning because you can submerge them, as long as they don't have holes in them, into the water. So there we go. We want to make sure that we have an inch or so of water over top of the jars. That's important for processing. Now, looks like we've come...
It's not boiling.
You don't think?
No, that's
okay.
Let's put the lid on.
Okay. So, put your lid on there. Looks like we're pretty much to a boil. It's not going to take very long.
Okay, and we'll be right back when it starts to boil.
Okay, all right. So I'm just going to check here. We're at a rolling boil. So I'm going to set my timer for
10 minutes.
10 minutes. I'm out of practice, it's been since last year. So there's 10 minutes. We'll be back and we'll show you when we put them on the cloth.
Okay, the timer's about to go off. We get another 6 seconds, so I'm just gonna take the lid off.
Here we go.
So, we're gonna take them out of the canner and set them on a towel.
Now,
boy, those look good.
Rick has rules about the jar towel.
Oh, they're popping already. Okay, the towel. You don't want the jars to be banged around. You don't want them on a cold countertop. So, we set them on the towel and we don't touch them.
No matter what.
People have said to me, my jam didn't set, my jelly didn't set. What happened? Well, when did you make it? This afternoon. Well, my question is always, how do you know it didn't set? Because you shouldn't be touching it. So we're going to set this here, and we're not going to touch it. We're not going to pick it up. We're not going to tilt them. We're not going to talk to them. We're not even going to look at them funny. We're just going to leave them there until tomorrow afternoon. And if we did this right, they'll be set. But I once had jelly, grape jelly, that didn't set for almost a week. That's absolutely fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Just don't think it didn't work just because it doesn't set right away.
Have patience, leave it alone, let it take its course. These are looking lovely. I'm going to shut the camera off now and we're going to go for a second batch. Okay, we're going to go for a second batch. So turn our burner on and we've got a little over 3 cups. We've got about 4 cups of tea, but we're going to use it. We're not going to waste it. We wanted to mess with the sugar levels. So there we go. There's our tea in there. The next step is to put in our sugar, and Rick has it pre-measured. We're going with a little less sugar this time because sometimes we like to play with ratios. I'd like, if there's any bitterness, I'd like to be able to taste the fruit instead of the sugar. So we're going to put our sugar in. There we go. And we're going to put our pectin in. Get this open. This is all supposed to be done in this batch. There's our pectin. There we go. Now for the stirring.
Nope, lemon.
Now we got to get our lemon. I want to stir this though so the pectin doesn't go all lumpy, which it tends to do. I may have to get one of our silicone whisks and do that, and 2 tablespoons of the lemon juice. Again, we use lemon juice out of the bottle because we can control the acidity of it. Cannot control the acidity out of natural lemon. Go. Okay, I'll get this.
Take it.
So I'm gonna get those pectin lumps out of there, which are a little annoying. Look away at those while we're waiting for this to boil.
We haven't had a single argument making this jelly yet.
Oh, not on camera anyway.
That'll be a first.
Yeah.
Mainly because she doesn't listen.
Yeah, really. When you have two opinionated, strong-willed people making jam or jelly or working in the kitchen together, sometimes threats are made. I'm just saying.
Wow.
Mostly against Rick's life. Let's see here. Okay, I've got all those little things out of there. I'm just going to take this spoon out. We've kept our water bath boiling so that we're ready. When we're ready for our second batch, we've got our jars ready. We're going to have a little bit more tea this time, so we're going to have some that we can try because we're going to have extra. So do we have another jar that we can put our sample in?
You've got some jars over there. Why don't you use one?
So why don't we use those?
I'll
Okay, you stir and I'll see if I can get a jar. I'm going to use a larger jar this time.
Did you put butter in here?
I did not yet, but
Let's do it.
We're waiting for foam. If it foams, we're going to use the go-to of a little bit of butter.
It's going to.
You don't need much butter, but the butter is supposed to keep the foam. Keep the foam down, so we just put that in there. And we use real butter. We don't use that old margarine stuff. I'm just gonna melt that in there. We've got the burner on high. We'll probably turn that down a little bit until we're ready for it. There we go. So we'll see if it really does make a difference with the foam. You don't need much butter, maybe a tablespoon or a teaspoon, whatever.
You never put the sugar in until you've got it at a rolling boil.
The sugar?
No, not the sugar. See, this is how it starts.
You said the sugar.
You never put the sugar in until you've got this at a rolling boil.
I already put the sugar in. What are you talking about?
You made a mistake.
No, I didn't. 3 cups of tea, 4.5 cups of sugar.
Better read the instructions,
For
dear.
frig's sakes. Oh, crap.
Oh, that's awesome.
I added the sugar early.
Let's see if this
works. We're good. So now we need to say a little prayer that I didn't screw it up.
I love it when this happens.
Ah, crap.
Remember what she said about 2 headstrong people working in the kitchen?
Yeah, well, we'll see. Okay, take a picture.
Look at her.
Look, take a video of this. Look at how nice and clear that dandelion jelly is. Beautiful.
And we'll see what it looks like after.
Okay, here we go. With our rolling boil is coming.
Somebody didn't follow
I
the
skipped a step,
instructions.
so we're going to see if it turns out. Maybe I screwed it up. Okay, there's our rolling boil. I'm going to turn it down just a bit. We need to set the timer for 2 minutes, please. So we don't want this to boil over, so I'm going to furiously do this.
Okay, timer set.
Let's hope that I don't boil over.
Lift it off if you want. No, it's going down.
No, we're going down. There we go. It's important to get that rolling boil and to maintain your rolling boil. 'Cause that's what makes the jelly or the jam. There we go. We're good. We still got that. It's looking nice.
If I was in charge here, which I'm not, I would let it boil for another 30 seconds or so over the 2 minutes.
And we could. Didn't think we may.
See, now it sounds like her idea.
Oh
so it's all going to work out.
Wow. Okay. I even bought some crackers this afternoon to have a little bit of this jelly on, so we're looking forward to some a sample bottle. This year, we made a lot of jams and jellies the past 2 years, and we still have quite a stock downstairs. So making jam and jelly can be a fairly expensive process, and the reason we do it is not to save money. The reason we do it is so that we can control what's in what we eat. Everybody appreciates a jar of something that's been homemade, whether it's jam or jelly or pickles. So what we're doing is this year, everything that we make is going to be foraged. So Rick foraged the dandelions and processed them. So if anybody has anything foraged that they can think of that they'd like us to produce pickles, jams, jellies, whatever out of, that's what we're doing. Last year we foraged some crab apples and we made some beautiful crab apple jelly, plain, and crab apple cinnamon. And it's beautiful. We made a lot of it. The year before we foraged rose hips and we made rose hip jelly, and it was absolutely delicious. So
we didn't get much of that ourselves. We gave that as gifts to people.
We mostly gave it away. I mean, it's, you know.
So this year we're going to have to do rose hip again.
Yeah.
But if anybody out there has anything that is forageable, is that a word?
Yeah, forageable. If you have rhubarb that you want
we would like to
get
come,
rid of it,
we'd like to come and pick it.
We'll process your rhubarb.
Now, wait a minute. We're going to process it and give it back to them? No, we're going to keep it. Might give them a jar.
We will give you a jar in return, but, you know, if you've got rhubarb or anything that is forageable that you can think of that we could make something with, let us know. And we're certainly open to doing some research, seeing what we can do. So I'd say that that's boiled a couple minutes over. So I'm just going to take that off the burner. Just going to give it another stir, let that...
And the butter did its job.
Yep, see, whole lot less foam. We still have a little bit of foam.
Not enough to worry about.
But not enough to worry about. But the butter, that's
We were going to skim
magical.
it off the top if there was too much, but that's fine.
It's good. So that's what the butter will do for you, and we know better, and that's just life. So, again, here we go. Put my cookie tray there so it doesn't fall in between the...
Now, just to be clear, and it's not to rub it into Teresa or anything, this batch might not set. It's hit or miss.
You know, I made a mistake.
But
you wouldn't think it would make much difference, but we're going to see. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. Probably put a tiny bit more in that one.
Doesn't matter, it'll still taste good.
Yeah, I'm sure it will. We'll see.
And this is also, we'll mark the jars because this might be something that takes a bit longer to set. If it doesn't set tomorrow or the next day, I'm not going to panic. We're not going to dump it out. We're going to wait and see.
You know, because we played that game before. There's different times that we panicked and things haven't set up. So Rick has taken it upon himself to empty jars and reprocess with some more pectin and whatever.
Sometimes it's not even more pectin. Sometimes just more time on the stove. If it doesn't work out, don't panic. Just wait, and if a week later, if it's not set, put it back on the stove. Try again.
Yeah, for God's sake, don't
throw anything away.
Because this is a lot of work, a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of expense. And
now, if you are pressure canning something, that's a different story altogether. But
we'll
water
cover
bath,
some pressure canning.
Yeah, we'll do some pressure canning for you.
This smells really good. I don't know how to describe it. Kind of flowery and sweet. So we're hoping...
Now, if you don't have a full... What are you going to do? Oh, I was going to say dump it all in the big jar now if you wanted to.
No, isn't it funny that we used more tea this time and we have... Well, the sugar adds volume too.
And we cut back a little on the sugar.
And we did cut back on the sugar a little bit. I think we ran into that last year maybe a bit. We had something we cut back the sugar on, and it does decrease the volume of your product. So it doesn't really look like I'm going to have extra, even though I had extra tea that I was dealing with. But we're going to sacrifice one of the jars when it sets up, and we're going to try it on a cracker, because half of the fun of making this stuff is trying it out yourself. Okay, so there we go. The jars are filled. So we're just going to cap these jars up and we'll get back to you.
And again, I can't stress the importance of wiping your rims before you put your lids on. One little bit of sugar or something on the rim can stop a seal.
And it's such a simple thing to just run that around. Easy. Doesn't take any time at all. We're not going to need that bottle.
No.
So I'm just going to tuck it aside. And where did my... I've lost my... There it is. Thought I lost my magnet. It's nice to have the tools that you need for canning. For the most part, they're not really expensive. If your mom or grandma doesn't can anymore, maybe they have a few of these things. But it's...
Almost every time we do something like this, it always comes up, I wish I spent more time with my mom or my grandmother while they were doing this.
Paying
because
attention to how
we didn't learn from them, we learned ourselves, and it would have been a nice thing to learn, although
we do know
grandmothers didn't always do it the way they should.
So we make sure that we research everything that we do, and we clean everything, and we just want to make sure. We give a lot of this away for gifts, so we want to make sure that it's safe. We don't want to poison anybody. And likewise, you don't want your family to be sick because of things that you're canning. So there we go. Second batch of dandelion jelly ready for the canner.
Okay, our second batch is out. It's not quite as clear as the first batch, although the one on the right here is from the second batch, as is the one on the left, so I'm not sure what the problem is there. You can see them still bubbling away. I believe that the second batch, even though the sugar went in early, I believe it's going to set fine. It gelled up fine in the bottom of the pot. We tasted it. We can't figure out what the exact taste is. It's sweet, I can tell you that. But the first batch here, that's absolutely perfect. So we'll see tomorrow. Okay, here we are the next day, and all the jelly is set. You can see the ones that we added the sugar early are not quite as clear as the others. That doesn't affect taste or quality. That's a screw up on our part, but it tastes fine. And they were all processed fine. So there's absolutely no problem with it at all. But they've all set up nice. Last night, excuse me, Teresa was eating it already last night. And we gave a jar away today. Now, if you make a jar that doesn't set and you leave it for however long, a week or 2 weeks, and it doesn't set, just remember something. It was processed correctly. You've done everything right. It just didn't set. So instead of jam or jelly, what you've made is ice cream topping. So if you get one that stays as a thick liquid, just get yourself a scoop of ice cream and make yourself a sundae. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it. Shelf life, taste, quality, everything stays the same. It just didn't set. So don't worry about it. We don't. In this case, they all set. They're all nice. You can see there. They all look good. We're happy with them. In fact, happy enough that Teresa made me go and pick more dandelions. She's making more this afternoon. So there you go. Dandelion jelly. Try it.